Hi, I have a really special guest. I always find it difficult to introduce people that I respect, people that I am a fan of, but I will make an attempt. So in this episode of Girl in Skies, we actually have a girl who is literally in skies. I'm so pleased to have Samke Tshuma joining us. Samke Tshuma is the founder and the executive director of the Girls Table. She is also the founder of the Winners Circle. She is also a recently self-proclaimed citizens journalist, and and just someone who I respect. So Samke, welcome to Girl in Skies.
Thank you so much, Ned. I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that part when you said citizen journalist. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, being interviewed by Girl in Skies. Thank you. Like, I'm in awe of the work that you and Xolie are doing. So thank you for having me on your platform. I don't take it for granted.
No, thank you so much. So because you are literally in skies at the moment, tell us, how is skies? How's the weather? You know, for those of us who are not at home, who are missing Bulawayo, you know, just give us a little something that we can hold on to. What's happening in skies?
Okay. Today, you know how the weather in skies changes so much. Like, and then around 11, so we change weather. But right now, it's a bit warm. It's not hot and it's not cold. The vibe is always same go Bulawayo. You know, like I always laugh when I see people on Twitter saying, like, posting about events every day, cool activity, you know. So skies is wonderful, skies is beautiful. The weather right now is perfect. I'm not complaining. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. The vibe is always correct. Bulawayo. I love Bulawayo, man. It's the best city.
The vibe is always correct. The vibe, no, I love that. And I'm for some reason I'm missing skies so much. So I hope that I'll be able to see you again soon. Okay, so I just wanted to get into it. So we're just going to have mixed conversation, a bit of serious, a bit of topical issues, and I'm interested to find out a little bit more about you as well. But just to start off with the topical issues, what we know so far is that there is a new political organization in town, CCC, formerly MDC. And thank you so much to you, because I follow you on Twitter. You have attended some of the rallies that CCC has organized. And do you know what? I really appreciate your, you know, we were laughing about the citizen journalism, but it's really helpful, because if you're far away from home, you know, you're really holding on to any little information that you can get. So if someone posts a video of a speech that's being done, a video of what the, you know, giving a sense of the atmosphere, it is really, really, really helpful. So I just wanted to get sort of first hand from you. If you could tell us just a little bit more about the rallies that you've attended, what the atmosphere is like, and just what is happening on the ground. And the reason I ask that is because sometimes, you know, people always say, oh, what's happening on the, you know, what you see online is not what's happening on the ground. So I really wanted to get your take about, what that has been like, the rallies you've attended, and just anything that you can share about that.
Okay, so I attended the Bulawayo rally and the Cholocho rally. The Bulawayo rally, it was my first time attending, you know, any type of rally, and it was insane. Net, the energy, and I don't think I'll ever be able to put it the way that I felt, the way that I experienced it, because I think it needs each and every person to attend. You can't describe the energy, the atmosphere. Like, I was so in awe. Like, I had goosebumps from start to the end. You know, Tina, we went in the morning because it started at 10 and we got there on time. You know, just capturing, you know, people bengena, you know, behlabela, begita. It was such an experience, and I encourage every person, whatever party you support, please attend a rally, because you get to feel the energies of other people. You get to share, hope. Because, before I attended that rally, I think I was struggling with hope. I was like, Zimbabweans are not into these political processes. Abantu sebediniwe, because, we conduct voter education. And abantu, when they'll say, we're not interested. But when I attended that rally, I was like, no, but people are still interested in these political processes. Abantu, they still want to belong to a political party. It was amazing. And then the chief, or is it champion in chief or whatever, champion in chief, Wakuluma. I mean, that man has charisma. Like 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 pants, because I'm like, wow, this is a young person, and as Chananga Labo Chamisa, this is a young person and is commanding such a crowd. I can't explain that. You have to experience it yourself. So when we attended the Cholocho rally, I really wanted to see, because I think we know our history in Zimbabwe. We went, like, there was a genocide, there was Kukurawundi, and one of the places that were affected the most by Kukurawundi was Cholocho. So I wanted to see how people receive this new political party, and also to receive, Abantu, coming from another tribe. I just wanted to see that, how are people going to receive Chamisa, receive the new party. And I can tell you the energy was the same. People were excited, people were dancing, and it was good to see. For me, like seeing young people being part of this was very, very good, because now you said, okay, young people really do want to be part of these processes. They want to feel hope. They want to feel like change is coming, because I think that's what Zimbabweans have always wanted. They've attached change to a different political party from ZANU-PF. So it was such an experience. Cholocho was amazing. When they were dancing, I was inspired, and I kept asking myself, okay, how am I going to play my part, and what role am I going to play in the political economy of Zimbabwe? Because like, if you don't attend these things, you don't really understand the value of being in politics. You don't understand why people attend these rallies. It's just like abantu abalaskati, or people have time to waste, but you realize that, what, I need to play my part in this economy, in this country, and I thought a lot about it, I need to really start thinking about my role in this country as a citizen. And as much as I keep saying to people, I'm a citizen journalist, I did study. I attended a training that was conducted by Ozenzele. I think it was like 4 years back. I think it was 2018 or 19. So you learn the value of capturing those moments, not just for CCC, but everywhere I go, I always ask people, can I take pictures? Can I take videos? Because you want to bring those things that are not on the ground. You want to bring that content. You want to bring issues and concerns of people into the public discourse. So I love, because now when I watch something, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, I love capturing things and what people say, and I bring it on Twitter, because I know that some people will never get the time to watch 2-hour interviews, and I love doing that. So, and I love capturing voices and concerns of people, whether Nkambe Cholocho, Enkai, Plumtree, I love to do that. So I think people started to appreciate me saying I'm a citizen journalist now because of the CCC rally, but it's something that I've always done, but without calling myself a citizen journalist. And I was happy to see other people now saying, hey, citizen journalist, are you attending the Mutare rally? Hey, what? I'm like, no, because even Thokozani's presser, I wish I'd attended yesterday, because I'm that person. I just want to capture those voices. I want to understand what makes someone support Dr. Thokozani Kobe, what makes someone support Advocate Chamisa. I would have wanted to attend the ZANU-PF rally, but I would not want to go by myself. I've been asking people, can we attend the ZANU-PF rally? Because as a citizen journalist as well, we are not trying to make it seem like you're only aligned to one political party, because there are people that support ZANU-PF, and you want to understand, why do they support? What is it that they're being told? And also, Lami, as a citizen, I'm still choosing and looking for a party that I can support, that I can rally behind. So it would be good, to attend all these rallies, Abo Monzora, just to understand where people are coming from and what they want, and also what I want for myself, would see which party do I want to align myself with. But it was such an experience. I can go on and on and on.
No, I love it. I love it. I love how you've described it. And you actually answered one of my questions about attending other political party rallies. So I look forward to that. Although, you're the impartial journalist, but I will say some of the footage that I've seen, some people you have to go and go into people's houses for their rallies.
Yeah.
So,
It's scary though. Yeah, like with because people keep saying you don't need to attend the ZANU PF rally, and I'm like, you know what, I don't have to, because even with the CCC I did not need to attend, but with the ZANU PF as well, because so that I show the full context of what's happening in Zim, because I think one of the things that I do, I want to be able to observe, to be an observer, not just of elections, but of, rallies and, the process, towards the election. So it would be good to also capture, what's happening, as it's just that I don't know if they'll be welcoming, of someone that they'll consider an opposition party supporter. So that's the problem, because I've asked people, but I want to go with someone, but I guess I have to think of, even attending online. It's just that, sometimes uzama rallies abantu so late and you're like, come on, because I would love to attend as many rallies as possible by different political parties.
yeah. Okay. So guys, make sure you follow Samke on Twitter. We're going to put all your handles in the more information so that those that don't follow you will follow you. So you mentioned about Dr. Thokozani Kupe and the press conference that she had. So we're recording this on a Tuesday. She held a press conference on Monday, the 21st of March. Stronger Together was the theme, and it was I had myself a good laugh, because I said, Zimbabwe politics is it can be quite entertaining if it didn't really impact us. I feel like if I were not Zimbabwean, if I were not invested and I was just watching, I would be so entertained. But because it affects our economy, our personal circumstance and everything. But what Thokozani Kupe said is, and I'm just summarizing, is in the press conference, they were all wearing yellow with the CCC t-shirts, and she made the call that all MDCT supporters should vote for CCC candidates in the by-elections on the 26th of March. I just wanted to get your take on that. I know you say that you had wished that you had gone there, but yeah, well, what did you make of that?
What I've come to understand when it comes to politics is this is a mind game, especially for us Tina Lapa in Zimbabwe. Like, one day you think you understand, one day you think you know everything about our politicians, and then you realize I know nothing. I'll take you back to there was a time on Twitter when people were really having issues like about Dr. Thokozani Kupe, whether to support, whether to welcome her back. Like, it was such a lot was happening, people were writing threads, people were doing whatever. And I remember, I don't know, I did a tweet and I've forgotten exactly what I said, but I had not mentioned Dr. Togo's name. And I tell you, I got calls, I got DMs by people saying, hey, you know what, this is what happened with Dr. Togo. If you're sharing your story, start from. I didn't respond. I was just like, oh, okay. But then you realize that, sometimes what we see, it's not like what we see, Tina, at the end, it's not the full story. So sometimes, Tina, as citizens, when we comment on things, we're just commenting things because of what we think we know. And I think we need to accept that we really don't know and we don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. I've accepted that, because when you talk to a group of people, some people, they'll tell you, no, the reason why Dr. Togo is doing this is because ABC, and then the other person will say this. And I was reading Temba's tweet this morning, and I was laughing to myself because I was like, you know what? There are so many narratives around Dr. Togo, and you can never really understand what's going on. But when I saw her wearing the CCC and doing the presser, I laughed, honestly, because I was like, hey, they don't know the person that they're dealing with, Long, she's a tough cookie. People really don't understand with Dr. Togo, and they think they figured it out, but I don't think Tinama citizens have, so we're just being emotional and angry when we're dealing with Dr. Togo. But I wish people could sit down and really study her. I think our biggest mistake is we don't study people. And when we're studying people based on what we are seeing on Twitter at this very moment. But I think when we want to fully understand a human being, understand Dr. Togo, we have to really understand her from the time she got into politics, what drives her, what makes her make decisions, and why is she doing what she's doing right now. And I remember this other time I said to someone, I think Dr. Togo is driven by, ungamboa, if I consider you my enemy, I'm willing to attach myself with your enemy. That's what I thought, and that's what I'm hoping that someone would explain to me, and maybe I'll change my mind. But from the way that she moves, I think she's that person that says, okay, you don't like me now, or you're trying to close me out, so I'll attach myself to someone that I know is fighting with you or fighting you. That's the game that she plays. But I'm hoping that whoever is attaching themselves to Dr. Togo, they understand that I'm not sure of your loyalty as a person to anyone in the struggle. I'm not sure, and I will not want to speak on something because I really don't know her personally. But just from looking at her from afar, I'm like, okay, this woman, she's really attaching herself based on what is it am I going to get out of this, or get out of you, But as well, at the same time, Mina, I have nothing against her endorsing. If I were a CCC supporter, I would not have a problem with her endorsing the party that I support, because at this moment, we want to win. And I'm saying we, talking about opposition party supporters, and I'm not saying Wuti, as in, I'm a card carrying member. I'm not a card carrying member, but I'll assume that as a CC supporter, I'll be okay with her, endorsing my party. There's nothing wrong with someone endorsing the party. But now the question will be, and I hope lawyers will explain to us, for her party, her leading MDCT, what does it mean for her? What does the Constitution say, MDCT, in terms of wearing a regalia of another party, endorsing another party, is something that we need to understand. But Mina, I just say, Dr. on risk, study her, and study each and every move. But don't try and say, no, she can't endorse, or she can't do whatever, because I don't think she really cares. I was looking at some of the comments on her tweet, and I was like, I wish people really understood this person. This person does not care. Really, genuinely does not care. She knows exactly what she wants. What I don't appreciate is people making her look like this woman does not know what she wants. I think we underestimate her. She knows exactly what she wants. Maybe the decisions that she makes, we may not agree with them, we may not understand them, but someone like that, don't underestimate. Mina, I'm here for the drama. I think it's something that as citizens, as voters, whatever, we really need to study and see, okay, are these people genuinely for the betterment of our country? Are they genuinely for the betterment of our communities? And then you make your decisions based on that. But let's not get too involved in the drama, because when we're too involved in the drama and taking sides, we'll miss what's really happening, and that's why after 2023, we realized this was all drama. This was leading us to nowhere. So we really need to stay focused. Yes, we can laugh. Yes, we can be surprised, but we need to be smart. We need to be wise as voters, because Tina, genuinely, Tina, all we want is a better country. All we want is a better Zimbabwe. You know, about Dr. Togo and whatever the drama, we are really not interested. Unfortunately, the dramas and the games that they play, they are always at our cost. You know, like right now we have the by-elections. Money has been spent, money has been put towards the by-elections, you know, and imali that could have gone somewhere else. You know, we have imali, we have teachers that need to be paid, but imali sesihambisa by-election, something that we could have avoided as a country, but because of the games that our politicians are playing. So Tina, as citizens, let's be smart. You know, let's not be used by any politician, whether it's Dr. Togo, whoever. Let's keep our eyes on the ball, because that's where we should keep our eyes on, you know, to get Zimbabwe to a better place and to a better state.
Well said. Absolutely well said. I think she would be a fascinating person to speak to just sit down and speak to. And you've said a really important point about studying people. I think she's definitely someone that needs to be studied. And you know, people can say whatever they want to say about her. Some things I agree with, some things not. But we have to understand that this was a creation of the then MDC and Tsvangirai, and you know, rest in peace Tsvangirai. But it's a creation of the mishandling of the leadership structures at that time that they didn't address. So I was actually sort of like pro people like Welshman Ncube trying to fix it, because the issue is, if, like you're saying, if you're opposition, I think regions have to be given autonomy in terms of how they bring, you know, the party together. And really, in a way, this is success from whatever conversations have started with Welshman Ncube, because, you know, MDCT is not fielding any candidate. It means that there's no confusion, really. And yeah, and also the Matebelele and Bulawayo, that it's all very complex. I think Zenzele once broke it down in tweets in terms of just how the support has just kept going down year by year, and it's not really helping. So no, I absolutely agree with you. And then just generally, what's your take on 2023? You know, we've been talking, we're seeing all these different interesting things coming up. We're seeing some gimmicks, you know, some Twitter accounts popping up with scandalous stories. So you know that, oh yeah, we are on the road to 2023. But I just wanted to get your take. Are you hopeful? What role are you playing? Do you think people are engaged? What's the level of apathy? Just what's your feeling about 2023?
Okay, as I said, I think I did mention when we started that before I attended the CC rally, I was a bit defeated because of, you know, civic engagement. I felt like the numbers were extremely low in terms of, you know, abantu who are going to register to vote, because I was very involved in voter education and encouraging young people to register to vote. And when you're looking at the statistics, out of Zimbabwe, you look at Matebelele North and South, you look at Bulawayo, our numbers are very low compared to other regions. So I was really worried and frustrated. But then attending the rally, I was a bit, I had hope, you know, because seeing people together, you know, saying, this is, you know, Zimbabwe, we're going to do this. I had hope. But the thing is, one has to remember that people who attend rallies, sometimes they are not registered to vote. So you can't really count on those people who are. So if we had such a number, then it means really when it comes to 2023, we'll win. It's always a disappointment, especially when it comes to by-elections. You realize people do not vote by-elections if we look at our statistics from previous years. So when we are talking about 2023, Mina, what I can say is so much work needs to be done, because when we're conducting voter education, we realize, especially in Matebelele, the issue where birth certificates, access to information. So you have areas that were affected by Gugurawundi. And those people don't have identity documents. So these are the people that you want to register to vote. How can they register to vote when they don't have IDs? So in 2023, Gaia, if we are going to have any hope, especially those that are in the opposition parties, they really need to put the work civilly serious, like really work extremely hard, because get the registry to roll out AMA blitz for IDs. But as long as you don't do that, this will be the same story. Because I remember sorry, Ned. I remember reading a report on voter apathy in Matebeleland, Bulawayo. You realize Uguti, people also mentioned the aspect of Uguti, they don't trust the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So I remember speaking to someone that I will not mention the name, and I was saying to him, listen, we also need to hear a message that doesn't just demonize Zec, because the more you speak of the negatives, there are young people. Because I think they said about 1 million, we have a potential of 1 million voters, new voters, right, for 2023. These are young people that turned 18, from 2018. So these people, they keep hearing us saying, well, no, Zec rigs there, Zec this, Zec this. We are not understanding that this also feeds onto the apathy that they already have. So you want those people to register to vote and to vote in 2023, but at the same time, you're telling them, good, you know what, even if you vote, nothing will happen because is the Rika. And I was like, there has to be a different kind of messaging, because you also, as much as you want to expose this institution, and you have a right to do that. If there are anomalies, if there are errors, whatever is going on with Zec, it's good for citizens to expose that, because that's our duty and role as citizens. But at the same time, our messaging has to say to young people, yes, this is what's happening, but at the same time, this is how we're going to defend the vote. But the biggest mistake that we've made these young people believe, Bona, all they need to do is go and register to vote, and then they'll sit back. But we failed to say to them, listen, the responsibility to defend the vote is on you as a citizen. So whatever messaging that we are crafting, we need to really make the young people and every other citizen that's saying, I'm a vote, we need to make them realize, no, the responsibility is yours. When you go in there and register to vote and vote, the person who's supposed to fight for their vote is you. And I'm not talking about MP or whatever, but I'm just saying defending your vote, where you are standing up and speaking up and say, listen, Mina, I voted. And like how the MDC Alliance then, when they said in 2018 our votes were stolen or we were rigged, we're supposed to win, it was the duty and the responsibility of citizens to say, okay, now we believe that we won. This is what we're going to do to defend our vote. As long as we don't say that and give people the agency, or not even give, because everyone has agency, but make them understand what is their responsibility, we're going to be having these same issues even in 2028. So for me, 2023, I think I'll have hope once I see what people really understand their role and their responsibility as citizens. Right now, I think people are waiting for, maybe they're waiting for the CCC, they're waiting for ZAPU, they're waiting for APA, they're waiting for all these political parties to defend their vote. But that's the biggest mistake. That's why when you get disappointed, you say, these political parties are not doing anything. But the responsibility is yours, to defend the vote. So, 2023, I think I'll only be hopeful when I realize what people, they understand, their duties as citizens. Because right now, I feel like people are still shifting every responsibility to political parties. And also, my role, honestly, has always been, voter education. I love talking to young people about the importance of of being in these processes, in electoral processes and political processes. So I'll continue, to educate as much as possible as an individual, and also the institution that I work for, because we were authorized to conduct voter education. So we will continue to play our part, even no matter how small it looks, we'll continue to play our part, but also as a citizen journalist, also as an observer, because I don't want to, for 2023, I don't want to start observing like what I did now, where I attend a few rallies. I want to be able to really from this year towards 2023, I'm able to look at the environment, because one of the things that observers do, like I'm a long-term observers, they start to monitor, the electoral process, okay, what's going on? Are women also campaigning? How is it when they're campaigning? What are people saying on Twitter or any other social media platform towards candidates? So those are the things that I want to be involved in, because I want to monitor the whole process. You don't have to be, umuntu or yaziwayo or who belongs to any political party. But you as a citizen, you can start to monitor the process and to see which, okay, vele for 2023, because you would have been studying the environment, you've been, reading people's Facebook posts, tweets, what's written on Herald, what's written on Chronicle, what's written on Newsday. So there's so much that as citizens we need to do. So I've identified places that I want to, to center myself and play my part, because I believe net, everyone has a part to play. You don't have to wait for net, you don't have to wait for political party members to do the work. Linelli said diaspora, there's so much, because you guys can't be on the ground for now, so there's so much that needs to be done. And I've been seeing, different people supporting candidates, in terms of, financial resources, so there's so much that needs to be done. But at the end of the day, our messaging is, it doesn't matter which political party you support. All you need to do is register to vote, because that's your responsibility as a citizen. I think sometimes our messaging gets lost because it feels like we're only speaking to those that are pro opposition parties, but the message is the same for everyone. Stand up, be counted, because that's your duty as a citizen of Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much. And this leads me nicely to what I wanted to talk about next, because you're talking about the role that you've been playing. So at the top of this episode, I mentioned that you're the founder and the executive director of the Girls Table. So if you could just tell us a little bit about the Girls Table, the work that you're doing, and just explain a little bit more about the organization, and the great work that you're doing, and how people can be involved.
Okay. So the Girls Table, how it started, actually, it started as a talk show. Zenzele, I had spoken to Zenzele about, having a show focusing on women issues, and we had spoken, I think it was like in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, and we're like, oh no, we'll talk about it. And then I think it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken, that's when Zenzele was like, are you ready? I think we can do something, in terms of having a show that's focusing on women issues. But Mina, I'm a shy person. I think I always say this on Twitter. I don't like the camera. I prefer being behind the scenes. And I spoke to a friend of mine. I think most people know her, Hlengiwe, and I was like, Mina, I'm not into, being the face of anything. I love doing things behind the scenes. So when I know your personality and also your confidence and how you're comfortable with the camera, and because she was on radio at that time, and she was like, no problem, we'll do it together. So we started as a talk show. And then, because I love to challenge myself and I love to stretch myself, I was like, you know what? In 2020, I was like, I think this should be an organization and not just be a talk show, but let it be an organization. So I registered the Girls Table as an organization. So our mandate as the Girls Table is to amplify the voices of girls and young women on socio-economic issues, political issues, cultural issues in Zimbabwe through the use of media and ICT. Because what I noticed, Ned, is, when you look at the media space, the voices are always the same. And I think sometimes when people ask me to speak, I'm like, you know what, I already have Twitter as my platform to say whatever I want to say, but other people don't have that platform, you know. And when you look at the mainstream media, it's always the same people. And actually, when you see the, sorry, there's noise. And then when you look at the voices that are being amplified, it's usually men. And I started to read on the statistics, you look at the media monitors report, you look at different organizations that are in media, you know, you realize that the voices that were captured, the sources of those of that news, mostly were men. You look at platforms even on social media, like whether it's Facebook, Twitter, when they're doing a conversation, it's usually male dominated. I think someone actually coined a term for it and said manels. Basically, it was all men. So as the girls table, I thought, we need to capture voices of girls and young women as much as possible. We need to be that platform that brings their issues into the mainstream, you know, because if I have a certain number of followers, I don't have many followers, but if I have 33,000 followers on Twitter and I have this platform and I know an issue about a young girl in Cholocho, I can tweet about it, and that brings that issue to the public discourse. So that's what the Girls Table was all about, bringing those concerns of girls from marginalized communities and girls even in urban areas that will never get the platform, because when you listen to the radio, it's always the same people. When you open or read newspapers, it's always the same people. So I was like, no, we need to get more voices. We need to hear voices that will never get these platforms, you know. And I think I'm proud of the Girls Table. We're not at the level where we want to be, but I think we're trying, you know. We try to have WhatsApp dialogues and, you know, having these young women, you know, being part of these conversations as guest speakers, you know, not just listeners. Because when you look at these conversations, whether it's political, public finance, corruption, men are always the ones that are speaking, you know, on these conversations. So when you have these young women, seeing their faces and seeing them being, you know, given a platform to speak as guest speakers, I believe it does something to our confidence, and knowing that we also have a role in shaping the discourse of this nation. But if we're always given conversations to talk about marriage, and there's nothing wrong with talking about marriage, but come on, if we're going to be given platforms to talk about sanitary pads, which is good, but we also want to talk about the economy. I studied economics, so I would love to be able to see faces of people like me, you know, talking about economics, talking about corruption, talking about public finance, talking about the budget. But if all these things are given, you know, these conversations are only left in the domain of one gender, I have a problem with that. So the Girls Table, this is why we created the Girls Table, to say even girls that are interested in talking about politics, not only to talk about how women are abused in politics, but you know, the nature of politics. You know, they want to make a commentary on what's happening, like what we're doing now, where you're asking me about what I think about the political nature of this country, you know. So that was why we started the Girls Table, and we're slowly making people aware. Because even on Twitter, I always complain, and I approach different directors when I see them posting about conversation, it's all men. I'm like, what are you saying? Are you saying women can't talk? Are you saying that young women can't have a say in this conversation? And people are like, I'm sorry, we didn't realize. Because I remember I attended this prayer session, and it was about Kukura Hundi. And the first thing that I noticed when I got there, and what I asked, I was like, have women spoken? Do we have women on this panel? And they're like, oh my God, sorry. So I had to speak to each and every organizer of that event to say, listen, can we be mindful? Because you can't talk about Gukura Hundi and not have women speak as well, because they're also affected. So the idea behind the Girls Table was to say anything that has to do with Zimbabwe, women should also be seated at the table, you know, to have a conversation. You can't talk about the budget and not have women. You can't talk about anything and not have women, whether it's policy issues, have women speak on policies, you know. Don't just leave us to talk about social services, but in each and every conversation, can we have women at the table? So that's why we created the Girls Table. But we are trying. It's not easy, but we keep pushing and we keep spreading the message. And, you know, I think my greatest and proudest moment is seeing young women from Plumtree, you know, being on these posters, you know, because now they know that someone is willing to hear them. Someone is saying that they matter, their voices matter. And I always say to people, as much as I don't like being at the forefront, I understand the importance of my voice, whether I'm speaking broken English, whether I'm stammering. The point is speak. The point is your voice matters. So as the girls will tell people, you don't have to have perfect English. You don't have to have an accent. I always say I have a Ndebele Kalanga English accent, you know. So it doesn't matter. But what matters is knowing that each and every person's voice matters. So as the girls table, that's what we are trying to share and to show these young ladies. And I believe most people, when they see me, you know, they're like, oh, okay, so if someone can speak, if someone can write this, then I think I can do this. So I believe that's the part that I love to play, because I'm showing other young women, it's not about how you look and your English. What's important is the voice, and knowing that when now your voice counts. Because when we do this policy making, whatever, we need all these voices, you know, whether Makaya, whether Lape Town, because if we don't say anything, and I don't believe net in the voice of the voiceless, I believe everyone has a voice. No matter how shaken it sounds, no matter how squeaky it sounds, everyone has a voice. People just need platforms. And I think I did say to you, I'm grateful that you guys started Golden Skies, because you are showing women globally that even African voices matter. You know, there are African people that are doing amazing things. All they need is for us to have platforms that showcase that. So I'm proud of Golden Skies as well, because this is what we need to see. More of, you know, platforms for young women in regions and countries that never get these platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, from what you've said, a key thing is that women are carriers of culture, right? In every way, which is why, you know, even in, you know, we talked about the genocide in Guguraundi and everything, women are attacked, and, you know, things like, you know, rape and all that are used as a weapon of destruction, because there is an acknowledgement that women are carriers of culture and carriers of the future. So if you mute a woman, you're muting the progression of society, right? And that's why it's important for women to be empowered in every way, to speak up. And like you said, not to just talk when it's time to talk about relationships and all that stuff, but for us to talk about the economy, public finance, and all that sort of stuff, because women play such a key role. And the point that you said about panels just having men, well, no, because we've had 40 plus years of men running the show. And what's the result? So it's time to give women a chance. So I absolutely love that. And so how can people get involved if, you know, they're listening to you and they're like, okay, no, the girls table, this sounds like a good thing. Maybe it's something my organization can be involved in. How can they get involved?
Okay, so the Girls Table is a non-member organization. So Agulama members, because I remember when we started, people were like, can we join? No, there's no membership, so you don't need to pay anything. But and we also want to avoid, you know, uthatha imali zabantu, because sometimes, you know, ungathatha imali zabantu, abantu gcina bengasakhulumi kuhle sometimes, you know. But what we do, though, we are open to work with organizations, and we're also open to work with individuals. We were in Cholocho last week, and my friend Tande and I, we identified girls that are in need of, you know, school fees. Ngale Cholocho Esbambene village, we identified girls that want sanitary pads. And, you know, like they raised different issues that we took down, and we promised them that we're going to come back to Bulawayo and try and engage with different organizations and individuals to see how they can help us. Like one of the actually two people that we have spoken so far, one who Dr. Yvonne Maposa, because we have worked with her in terms of, fundraising for AMA sanitary pads. And she was like, no, she's game in trying to see what we can do for the girls esibambene. And then some of the girls Konangale that then mentioned ukuthi they're interested in doing dressmaking. And I know a young woman who runs a factory and they supply AMA clothes to different organizations. So I spoke to her. Her name is Tafazo Wuti. Listen, we have young girls, Cholocho, and this is what they are interested in. Can you do a program for them? I mean, these are girls from marginalized communities, and they need for help. And then the other thing that we're working on is doing a career fair or something like where we bring these young people to meet women from different fields, so that they see. Because there was one girl who kept saying, and she's only 15. So you realize the world that they see and know is only limited. So what we do is the Girls Club will try and work with different organizations, and we are not funded at the moment, but we are willing to work with anyone that deals with girls and young women to help out. We always make sure to refer them to other organizations that we know that they'll definitely get the help. Our mandate really is to amplify their voices, their issues, their concerns, and involving them in conversations. But where help is needed, like monetary, whatever, we try and lead them and link them with organizations and individuals that are willing to do that. So Mina, personally, as someone who is the director of the organization, I don't recommend people, unless friends. I have friends, they have, they've given us money for fuel, and we take fuel, we take a picture of that receipt and we send to them so that they know it's okay. Imali that I contributed, this is where it went to, because you also want transparency and accountability, and you also don't want people tomorrow to say, Simbone lipstick red, she's using our money. Minangila mali, to be honest, guys, I'm broke. But when it comes to issues, AMA girls, I make sure that the money that people give, especially friends, I'm comfortable with my friends, because Baba Seben Pusha would take this so for this person. But otherwise, as the organization, we do have, as I said, we're registered. We do have, bank accounts, but we want to make sure that everything is done in a transparent manner, because Mali is super. But if anyone wants to work with us, we're willing. But remembering that we are non-partisan, so we're not helping out abantwana from one political party. We try to to remain non-partisan, because the focus is girls and young women, regardless of of their beliefs or the affiliations and stuff. So we are here to work with anyone who's willing.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful, and I will put myself out there sort of so that it's on record. If there's any way that I can help, please feel free to let me know, and especially like if I'm at home, because I think what you said about exposure is just such a big thing, and worldview. And so if there's anything that I can do to assist in that way,
especially the Golden Skies would be good. I think I did mention the issue here, career fair. So the provisional date or month, we said June. So I think it would be good to have you guys on board as well, so that they see, and meet you guys, where we arrange, a Zoom meeting where you guys share your stories and, just the whole idea of the Golden Skies and what they can do, so we'll definitely talk more on that, because I think it would be good to have you guys as well. So definitely career fair, or an activity where we bring them to Bulawayo, because there was an activity that we did some time back with the teacher Udube from Cholocho and Keith Moyo from here. Keith wear school to shoes. We Saleta Bandana from Cholocho, another ward. Cholocho, they came down and when they tell you they've never had ice cream, and when you take it for granted, so small things like that, we took them for a movie, they moved around like AMA organizations where they visited AMA factories. It was such an experience for them. Even today, when you speak to Dube, he'll tell you what these kids are still, they're still talking about it and they were so happy, they were inspired. So it's small things that look small to us, but to these kids it's a lot. But they were like over the moon. Movie net, like they were so happy. So because of COVID, we ended up not doing for the past 2 years, but it's something that we love to do. I spoke to Udube, I think it was 2 days back, and I was telling him we need to revive that project because of the girls that we met at Swambeni village, which they also need that exposure. So definitely we'll need girls guys to be part of it.
Absolutely. And yeah, would love to do something. I know I've taken a lot of your time, but it's because I am so enjoying speaking with you and hearing your perspective. We had a list of things to do and a list of things to talk about. And at the beginning, before we started, we were laughing that, we should try and not make this 3 hours, but I could easily speak to you for 3 hours. But I'm mindful of your time. So just quickly, just a few things that then we'll wrap up. I wanted to, we've talked about women, girls, and just the role that we play in the political space and in the national space as well. I sort of just wanted to get your take on issues that affect women that speak publicly, right? And the reason I say that is, we know that, or it's been documented that women in politics or women that are visible in Zimbabwe are subject to a certain level of scrutiny and a certain level of just it's some behavior that would not be experienced by male counterparts doing the same, just in terms of comments. If you look, for example, at people like Advocate Maere, if you look at their comments, there'll always be someone sort of saying, "Oh, when are you getting married?" Things like that, and those are even the milder ones, right? We talked even about Dr. Thokozani Kupi and some of the insults that we cannot even repeat that were held at her. And does that make you scared about being a woman that is vocal because of that? Because I'll be honest, like sometimes it scares me because I'm like, I talk too much. But yeah, how do you feel about that? And do you think as a society, as a Zimbabwean society, we are making progress in that area, or it is still an issue?
It's still an issue, and I think women in general, whether it's Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, wherever, I think women still have to deal with this. Women in the public space, they still have to deal with the patriarchal society. As much as people think that we have progressed and that we are on the right track, women are free to speak or women are free to engage in politics. But it's not true, because people don't want to really confront our problems as a society. Women are still regarded as inferior. That's why when we talk about Advocate Fadzama here, someone will be asking her, Uchadanini, like, what does that have to do with someone speaking up and being involved? Like, because I've never heard someone say, Uti, ubani lobani. Like, actually, let me use my favorite person, Gift Ostalos Siziba, the deputy spokesperson of CCC. I don't think I've ever seen a comment saying to him, when are you getting married, young man? But it shows the society that we live in. The only progress that has been attached to women is the marriage one. Like, and I have nothing against marriages, but I feel like sometimes we reduce women to that. Like, women are so much more, women are so dynamic. So why should their role in society be only, spoken of when it comes to marriage. And then you see Gaia, like they talk about your looks. Suguti. I remember when people were dragging Linda Masarira and they were saying nasty comments like and you're like, what has that have to do with anything? You know, why should you talk about it looks? So what are we saying? Are we saying that a woman who looks in whatever way according to us is the only one that we should listen to? And men like to do that. And I remember someone would be like in your comments, women like you should speak. I mean, I have a problem with that because you want to make it seem like Mina, I'm a better woman than Linda Masarira because you perceive it in such a way. Mina, I find that very disrespectful because I am Linda as well. So just because I don't agree with Linda or you don't agree with Linda, then now you want to reduce whatever she's saying to how she looks and how you think she should look. So it's a lot. And you know what, and you start to see it online as well, because online has become our platform, you know, where we engage in civic issues. You find online people trolling and harassing women and people creating weird posters about women. There's a time when I saw a disturbing poster that someone created about Advocate Fadzai Maheri and Advocate Chamis, and I was like, who stoops to such a level where they create such things? And I don't want people to be okay with that and say, this is the cost of doing politics. It's not the cost of doing politics. We need to fix our politics. We have to show that politics should be healthy for everyone, not just women and men, but for everyone. You know, people have to engage because, you know, it's our right as citizens, you know, to be part of these processes. So why should one group of people, and remember, Tina, as women, we make up the majority. So why should our demographic group not be represented because now we're shying away from politics? Like when what you're saying, Guti, you are, sometimes you get scared. Unfortunately or fortunately, Mina, I'm not scared anymore, you know, when it comes to these things, because I think I've told myself this is the game. Not that I don't get frustrated. I do get frustrated. I get depressed about it. But I tell myself, you know what, at the end of the day, there are young people that are looking at us, the young girls that are looking at us to see how we handle all this. And if they see us speaking up in spite of all what's happening, they'll also gain confidence. But if all of us run away, you know, then what happens? Because I remember saying to Tandegile, because, you know, so many things have been written about her, and I was saying to her, listen, there are certain things that people will say to you, just keep quiet. And I was saying, no, but there are girls that are looking at you as someone that they look up to, someone that is very confident and brave, and they want to see how you handle these things. So if you take the timid route, or if you don't speak against people when they are harassing you and being disrespectful to you, don't those girls, they think, so it's okay to be disrespected. So I always say to her, we are allowed to speak up. We're allowed to defend ourselves. Yes, there are other instances where you're like, okay, I will not say anything, but I'll make sure that if I don't say anything, it's because I know that this thing won't affect the girls that are looking at me. But if I believe, and I think there was an issue on Twitter where I had to speak up and people saying, no, you don't need to defend. I'm like, no. There are girls that believe Uguti, when they see us speaking up, and they'll gain confidence. Uguti, okay, I have a right to speak up. I have a right to defend myself. Even though people will not believe you, but you making that choice, you know. So women in politics, we still have a long way to go. But what I appreciate though is that we have women, young women especially, that are now coming to show support. But what I wish though is that as women, we really show support, not offline only, but also online as well. If I see you being attacked because of raising your points and believing what you believe, I think I should be able to speak up and say, no, this is wrong, and condemn it. But what I've noticed so many times sometimes is that we only defend based on who we like, and we also defend based on which political party, because there are some young women from ZANU-PF, a ruling party, that are also, you know, going through it, where they are harassed because of being women. Because it doesn't matter which political party you belong to, as long as you are a woman, you know that the struggles that you face are the same, you know. So you speak up for even those women that are in the ruling party, no matter how much you hate the party that they support, but you speak up, because when it comes to patriarchy, it doesn't care which you support the new movement or you support, it doesn't care. You're still treated like a second-class citizen. So we need to build that. And I'm happy that I've seen young women that I've never met saying, you know what, I saw this, someone wrote this about you, but you know what, I support you, keep speaking. But I wish that could really be visible, because sometimes, you know, when these girls are looking and they're seeing these comments from people like you and every other woman, they're like, oh, okay, so there is a support structure for women, you know, not lokoguti when someone is being attacked, we all go behind the scenes and we don't show solidarity publicly, because they do show solidarity publicly. So that we need to really adopt that culture to say, listen, I saw this about this person and I'm going to speak up. You know, I really don't have fear anymore about these things, because I'm like, you know what, this is what this society wants us to do, to go back to our shells and just die. But we can't afford that, because these girls, they depend on us. They want to see themselves represented in politics. They want to see themselves represented in public spaces. It's not nice, honestly, to see yourself being called or being attached to a man, because the other problem with us women in politics, or women in public space, women in media, women wherever, like you're always attached to a certain individual. You're always attached to a man. Like your success or whatever you're trying to build, whatever you're saying, people always say, but upusha ngobani, or pusha ngobani, or this man is asking out, or she has led to this man. So you're dealing with that all the time. So it's painful, because you're like, no, I have my agency. I believe in who I am. I believe in what I'm trying to do. I believe in the work. I believe in justice. I believe in fairness. So I'm speaking out, not because anyone is pushing me, you know, or I'm working for anyone, or I'm sleeping with anyone, but this is who I am. So women sometimes, they end up shying away because they're like, abazathi nkombobani or ngilala lobani, which is unfair. But we have to keep pushing it. You know, fear is not our choice. Fear is not an option. You know, we have to, no matter how frustrating it is, we have to keep pushing, and also try to build a network of women that, you know, that have been there, and women that are going through the same thing. I think I did a tweet recently where I said, if Mamo was not in the same space as I am, we are doing different things, but we're feeding into the same thing in terms of justice, in the same work, in, you know, in human rights. And I was saying, if she was not there, I think this would have been much harder. But because she's there, I can talk to her about it. What do you think of this? Or, you know, such things. So you really need a team. You need friends that know the game that you're in. They know that the space that you're in is not very kind to him, it's not friendly to him, but they show support. You know, they affirm you, because that's what you need. Because but to be honest, we can have friends that are in the same space as us, but because of patriarchy, somehow they'll never understand the struggle as a woman in the struggle. Yes, they can say we understand the patriarchy, blah, 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 blah. But what I've learned, they don't really understand, you know, the way you would understand. When I told Annette, someone created a post about me saying this, and it's not nice. When now you understand, because you're a woman. Another, maybe a feminist who's a man, yes, they may say we understand, but it's not the same. So it's very important to have that network of women, you know, because it's not easy, but the thing is we have to keep pushing and keep going.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about support structures. And, you know, if you don't mind me sort of saying, because I think it's important for us to sort of talk about it. So you talked about a time where you had to defend yourself. And I will say that I was really proud of you for standing up, because you did it in such a way that I had never seen, both you and Thandekile, right?
Yeah.
And again, stop me at any point if I am. So my understanding is there was a time where Hopewell gave an interview to News Hawks Live, I believe, and in that interview sort of insinuated that you know, he was friends with Thandekile, but the wording sort of left a lot to the imagination, which was not helpful, which then evolved to Twitter discourse, and then somehow you sort of got, you sort of got named in by some random Twitter account, like, oh, Thandekile and Samye, and sort of like trying to attach you guys to him. And for a while, people were sort of saying, you know how these Twitter things go. But I think what I really admired about you guys, and I'll be honest, I think it's in a way that I didn't even know I don't even know if I would have done that, because I've seen it play out, right? And like you say, your name gets attached to men, and you've worked so hard for what you do. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's because of so and so. But then you guys were like, no, Tandile, was like, no, this is insinuating that there's more that happened and this is not true. So you need to retract. And then you also were like, it is unfair for people to randomly say this, but Hopeful is not saying anything, right? To the point that he now had to do like a thread. And he said, he was like, no, yes, I was friends with Tandile. There's nothing more. It's like I've never met Samke. I've only interacted with her. But that was powerful, and I thought, oh my God, that was such a powerful moment. And to be honest, it's probably one that because I don't know what was happening in my life. I have times when I'm like not as active on social media, but I remember sort of like retweeting you guys. But it really made me think about, oh, like what could I have done to support you guys? Do you know what I mean? But you guys really, it impressed me, because it was really one of the first times I had seen, like, in Zimbabwean spaces where somebody pushes back, because we're sort of used to when they go low, go high, so you sort of have, and you can understand it, like your advocate Mayeras, who like they just won't respond, right, at all. But then I like the fact that you guys were like, no, you're not going to just say anything about us. So yeah, so what was that like for you guys?
Okay, so me, Nanette, I'm very confrontational, I think people don't really understand. If you're my friend, you'll know that. I'm very, like, if I don't like something, I'll ask you. And if I feel like I have to say something, I'll say it. So with that issue, to be honest, it's just that people had not been paying attention and following. But there was a clique of women on Twitter that had been really stressing us a lot. And sometimes you avoid, fighting with people, because that's not what you are there for. You're there, to engage with people and have fun. And, so these girls had been pushing us a lot. And I think that when they said that thing, for me, I was like, no, man, this has been happening for too long. And pretending that it's not affecting us is so unfair on ourselves. And also I'll keep going back to the girls that we work with that want to see how we stand for ourselves, And I was like, no, this needs to end. So I spoke to Tande, because both of us involved. I was like, listen, I don't know what you're planning, but I will speak for myself and I'll speak for us on this issue, because I think we've been quiet for too long. So when that woman said whatever she said, I was like, no, you have taken too far, because she had done other tweets. Like, if you go back and just follow the drama, like, she had always been, whenever you want to disagree with this person, they'll mention the aspect to and I feel like, okay, this is what men do in this space, where when you argue with the men, they'll tell you, we are funa or we are, and you're like, no, but I have no attraction to this person, so I feel like it was important for us to stand up for ourselves. And I remember even, DMing this person and saying, listen, your voice is very important in this struggle. Like, people follow you, people take whatever you say seriously, and you have such a huge following, and you know that young women in this space, how tough it is. We are always given boyfriends, we're always given men, and Mina, I'm trying to build my brand, and Nate, I'm genuinely trying to build myself, but I don't want my brand to be built on anyone, like on a man. Like, I'm really putting in the work for myself, and it's unfair for me to be attached to someone like you at this very moment, And I was like, can you please say something? And this person at first was like, no, I don't want to be involved in some silly whatever. I started, I went behind the scenes. I started to speak to different male influencers, male thought leaders, and I said, listen, can you guys understand this from a young woman who's building herself? Because Mina, when I say whatever I'm going to say, people don't take us seriously, because with women, who the hell are you? You know, so it's always good for you guys to also stand in solidarity, not just for me and with me or with Tandegile, but for other young women also in this space, that they should know, no, you know, there are men that are going to stand in solidarity. So I did that, you know, and I took advice as well, that I'm not trying to be fighting this person, but this is for my own brand that I'm building, my reputation in this space. So the person, I think they ended up doing a thread, but I still feel like that was not enough, because wasfaga in, I think wasniga a footnote, whatever, we can take that, because at the end of the day, that message, I hope that it got to everyone. But what I was said though later, someone was now saying to me, this person, I spoke to this person and they're saying that they gave you some money. So that was my issue, that, you know, sometimes when you don't confront these things, some narratives, they start to spread. And I'm not saying that you're going to be defending yourself at every point and every turn, but there are people that, you know, that they have influence in our society. So how people perceive them and how they perceive you. So you have to manage that, you know. So when you hear such things, I'm like, what man? I've never asked this person for money. I'm even struggling to receive a laptop from a friend. So how would I ask this person when I've never met them? I've never spoken to them like that. Because how this person had DM'd me some time back, he had said, I love the work that you do. I'm interested in doing a project in Matebelele. And that's how the person started a conversation with me. So I was like, okay, so how does people start to create lies and fabrications to say, how can I ask a stranger for money? You know, so I'm always saying to young girls, and even for that issue, it's important to defend yourself, you know, whether people believe you or not, but you know that you stood up for yourself, because the importance is standing up for yourself, and also trying to get other people that support you to know the truth, to know this person, she's not affiliated with this person, there's no relationship with this person, so that the people who still spreading lies. I mean, a woman who believes a young woman from Matebelele and after, because you know the stereotypes when it comes to us, which are vele lababanje, they are loose or whatever. And we're not saying we're virgins whatsoever, but we want to have, you know, the opportunity to say, this is who are, this is the person that I engaged with in terms of, you know, romantic or relationships. You want to be able to say that, you know, people just forcing these people on you. You know, you want to have that independence, that freedom to say that. So I think, Tina, that's what we wanted to say. You know what, if you give me a man that I know that I was attached with, I'll say, yes, definitely, because you want to own up to what you've done. But people are forcing you to own up to something that you've never done. They want you to own up to a relationship that you've never had. They want you to own up to a sexual relationship that you never had. So that was my problem. No, I'll not allow that. If I'm going to define myself, it will be, you know, me defining myself, and, you know, articulating who I am and how I want to be perceived in my own words, in my own ways, than I want to define and to say things about you that are not true, and they run with it. So that was very important. And I think for every young woman, you get to decide, have that freedom, have that choice to decide when you want to speak up and and how you want to say it. Because I think also as young people in this space we're often told to keep quiet. No, keep quiet. It won't matter. No. Our reputations are on the line. And we also want to have that freedom to defend ourselves. When I decide to not speak up, I will not speak up. Because there was a poster that was created with Tandegile again, and we never said anything about it. You know, we never told, but yeah, spread the WhatsApp. We never said anything about it, because we're like, you know what, this thing has not gotten to Twitter, so we'll let it slide, you know. But is that freedom of saying, I can choose when to defend myself. I can choose when to speak about something or not. You know, that I think that's the message that we wanted to drive. Yes, as a woman, no one should tell you when to speak up and when not to speak up. If you feel like something is bothering you, speak up. And if you don't feel like you want to speak up, don't speak up, you know, because we need that freedom. Not to no, because if it were you, would you leave it? You know, because people like to say that, but if you were in my position building yourself, were you going to leave it? You know, and because unfortunately, as young women in this space, people will run with any narrative. As long as the narrative involves a man, they will give you 100 men and no one will give a damn. But honestly, how does it impact her and how does it impact your family? Because can you imagine because my mom, she had to see, you know, when people send her all these things and she'll be like, you know, so you have to make sure that you also speak up for your family as well, so that they know it's okay. This is what she said happened, and we're gonna take her word for it. But sometimes if you don't say anything, now you're leaving all these things in the air. No one knows what's going on and what. And I want to say this. I know that not everyone will believe, but the thing is, speak up when you want and when you can. There's nothing wrong with speaking up and defending yourself.
Well said, well said, well said. Absolutely well said. I can't even add to it. No, thank you so much. Like I said, I have enjoyed speaking with you. We should definitely have a part 2, because you know we haven't even done half the topics. But no, I just want to say thank you for your time. But before we go, just a little fun, just to end on a little bit of a fun note.
Yeah.
So I've just got some questions. So just some questions for you, just to maybe get to know you a little bit better. Well, I don't know if the question is okay. A little bit better, but just to end on a fun note. Okay, what is the first word that comes to mind right now? One word.
Empowerment.
Use that word in a sentence.
Oh my God, Ned. I'm very passionate about the empowerment of people from Matabeleland and Bulawayo.
Thank you. Okay, so choose one, right? Liverpool wins the Premier League, or you get unlimited free lunch anytime you're in town. Unlimited forever. Or Liverpool wins the Premier League. Which one do you choose?
Okay, do you know what? I think I'll go with Liverpool on this one, because no one knows the joy that I get in trolling people on Twitter who support Man U, Chelsea. So you know what? I think I'll take the Liverpool one, because I'm such a competitive person. You know, and I always say to my family and friends that I wish I had done sports when I was in school, because then I would have enjoyed being competitive. So I think I'll enjoy the thrill of, you know, dragging people on Twitter about losing against Liverpool. So Liverpool it is.
Okay, so you'll never walk alone. Okay, so
never.
Bulawayo or Plumtree? Choose one.
Oh my God, Ned, this is so hard. Okay, I was born in Plumtree and I stayed in Plumtree for since I was born, and we lived, I think, when I was grade 2, and I've lived in Bulawayo for until now, right? So I think I'll say Bulawayo, not because I want to forget where I came from. I think who I am now, you know, I think it comes from Bulawayo shaping me and giving me platform. So I'll pick Bulawayo, but I love Plumtree because it's where my parents were born, it's where I was born. But I Bulawayo for now because it has really shaped the woman that I am, and I see it happening over and over again. So Bulawayo it is.
Say it like a true politician. Okay. Lemon cream biscuits or custard cream?
I'm not into biscuits, but I'll go with lemon cream.
Okay.
Lemon cream. I don't know.
Mazoe orange or Mazoe cream soda?
Net, I want to say this, and I don't want anyone to drag me, because I think as a citizen of Zimbabwe, I'm allowed to have my choices. I'm not a Mazoe person. Seriously, like, I'm not into cordial. I'm not into these drinks, fizzy drinks. So people have to forgive me on this one. I'm not into Mazoe. Like, I know people, they'll be like, hey, you're not patriotic. I'm not into cordials. So I shame, sorry.
That's fine. Okay, so in lieu of this question, I'll say, what is your favorite water brand?
What is my favorite water brand? Okay, I'm just going to be naughty and say my brand. I was once I had a manufacturing company, so we produced our own water, and we called that water Brooks. Yeah, so that would be my favorite brand because it showed that I can be innovative, I can start things on my own and just create brands. So that would be Brooks. And I don't even remember the scripture that I used to, to come up with the name, but I remember I consulted the Bible. So Brooks it is. Yeah, unfortunately, because housing is I'm not into manufacturing, but that will always hold a space in my life. So Brooks it is.
Brooks it is. And I was hoping you'd say that because it's one of the things we didn't get to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last one, Victoria Falls or the Eastern Highlands?
I'm still yet to experience the Eastern Highlands. So I don't think I'll give a good answer because, to be honest, I need to do better when it comes to traveling our beautiful country. The only time that I went to that part of Zimbabwe was when we went to Mutare. And I really didn't get to experience, so no, I think I'll be able to answer this when I've traveled as much in our country. So, and I don't know why I never took advantage of, traveling around Zim, but I'll get the Dr. Yvonne Maposa has been inspiring, seeing her post on, her traveling, she has been challenging me, and hopefully soon I'll be able to also experience, the beauty of our country. I would love to do that because I think Victoria Falls is a place that is close to us and we're always going there, relatives there. So you end up not appreciating the beauty because you've been seeing it since you were a baby. But I would love to, to travel far and wide and experience Zimbabwe.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And as our resident citizen journalist, we hope that you'll be able to travel far and wide.
I have to.
To bring us
I
the
have
content
to.
we need. Samke, it has been a pleasure. Like I said, we could talk for hours, and it's clear to me that you need to come back. We haven't talked about faith. We haven't talked about your time in Australia. There's so many things that we have not talked about. So you definitely have to come back. But thank you so much for your time. We've been speaking to Samke Tshuma, who is the founder and executive director of the Girls Table. An activist, just an enthusiastic citizen all around, and a woman that I personally look up to. Thank you, Samke. Before we go, was there anything that you wanted to say in closing?
Oh, Nate, thank you. Thank you so much to you and Xolie for this opportunity. I'm truly honored, and I hope that you guys know that I support you. I know sometimes, you post episodes and I catch up later, but just know that I'm very, very, very much proud of what you ladies are doing. You are also giving us courage to keep going. You are giving us the confidence, to keep speaking and to keep giving people platforms. But thank you so much. And I don't think anyone will ever do this work that we do without the support and without inspiration from other people. So thank you for being that inspiration to people like me and many other young ladies from Bulawayo, from Matebeleland. So I honor you ladies, and please keep doing the work that you're doing. And I pray for greater platforms, and I pray for resources for you guys, because I know that this work needs resources. Yes, but there's resources are needed. So that's my prayer for you ladies, that you get the resources that you need for the work to grow bigger, because I think our everything that we do has to have progression, has to have growth. So that's my prayer for you and Xolie and the Girl in Skies. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. We receive it. We receive it. Thank you so much, guys. We'll put Samke's information in the more information section of this podcast, her social media, also the girls' table as well. But Samke, thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.